Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nadia Shahida binti Samsul, student from Diploma in Accounting code AA101 and a practical student for session July to October 2020. Today I will present about the summary of what I had gained through the previous industrial training. First of all, I want to tell what is industrial training. As we all know, industrial training refers to the work experience that is relevant to professional development prior to the graduation. All of the students, in order to graduate, they need to pass the industrial training first. In industrial training, students join company which is relevant to their interest and subject, and they completed their training in particular time frame, for example, 3 months to 6 months. As for our situation, we had to complete it for 16 weeks, which is mean also for 4 months. Moving on, I want to tell about the objective of industrial training. First, I want to explain the main objective for industrial training. The main objective of industrial training is to provide the work experience to students in particular field and to provide a certificate for future record. In classes, students only learn about theory and they don't know about the practical terms. So, with this practical, student can get the feeling of the real working environment and also applying the lesson that had been taught during classes. Moving on to the other objective, and it will help students to gain increased maturity and understanding of the workplace. There are many staff with years of experience, and blending with them can make us more mature and will take the work seriously. This program also teaches the student on how to interact effectively with other workers or supervisors under various conditions in the organization. For example, when I'm stuck at a certain work, I will ask for their help and they will teach me. Other than that, students will have a chance to evaluate companies for which they might wish to work. In my case, I like the company which I had done the practical training because the staff there is very kind-hearted. When I need help, they make sure to teach me step by step until I get the hang of it. And working there, I think I will have fun and gain a lot of knowledge. Since the workers there had already years of experience. And lastly, it exposes students with work methods and techniques in handling equipment and machine that may not be available in educational system. During college, they never taught us on how to photocopy a document or any stuff that related to photocopying. But in the practical, I learned how to photocopy machine because in order to finish the work, there are steps that include the photocopying some documents. After they teach me, I found it easy to use the photocopy machine and I gained another knowledge on how to handling the machine and equipment. Now I move to the company background where I had done my practical training. The company's name is Yong-Eung and Co. PLT. It was established at 1985, which means it already had been running for almost 35 years. Yong-Eun and Co. PLT, which I had done my practical training, is located at Tawau, but there are other 3 subsidiaries which is at Kota Kinabalu, Semporna, and Lahad Datu. Previously, this company only provides auditing services, but now providing many other services besides auditing. Other services that they provide including taxation, bookkeeping, and secretarial services. At the beginning of creation of this organization, Yongeng and Co Plc is a partnership in which the name of the corporation was taken from the name of both of the partners, which is Mr. Yong and Mr. Ng Chi Min. But nowadays, Yongeng and Co is a partnership where Mr. Ng Chi Min and Mr. Yin Yun Loy as the two main partners in the company after Mr. Yong had died. Both of the partners are eligible to be called as a chartered accountant because they had more than 30 years of experience in auditing. Yongeng and Co Plc is also a firm member of Malaysian Institutes of Accountants, MIA. However, the main branch based in Tawau is managed by Mrs. Liu Tenqian, she is the manager at Tawau branch right now. She also qualified as chartered accountant with over 26 years of experience in auditing. Mrs. Sumarni binti Sudin is the audit manager for branch Tawau, Yongeng and Co Plc branch Tawau, and also a chartered accountant who had over 17 years experience in auditing. And also my supervisor, Mrs. Norazlina binti Laraja, had already 11 years experience in auditing. Moving on to the tasks undertaken by practical students in the organization. As for me, an accounting practical student, I had done a few tasks which is not too easy and not too hard. First of all is opening balance. As we can see, make opening balance for upcoming year based on last year information. This task for me is the easiest one because we only had to refer the last year information in order to finish the upcoming opening balance. Next is vouching. Vouching is inspection of documentary evidence and substantiating a transaction. As we can see in the picture, there are ledger and also an invoice. When doing vouching, we need to make sure the amount in the ledger and also the amount in the invoice is the same. When it is the same, we need to put a little V mark near the amount and make sure to put it both in the ledger and also in the invoice using a red pen. The next task is sampling. Choosing 3 invoices with the largest amount for each expenses and income to be filing in the audit file. The evidence of sampling is the highlighted amount in the picture. Make sure the highlighted amount is the amount that you had vouched. And we need to highlight both in the ledger and also in the document. When doing sampling, any other documents such as official receipt, invoice, and also bank receipt can be accepted. But if it is a payment voucher, we need to choose another amount to be sampling. It is because since payment voucher is not a very formal document for sampling. Next is scheduling. Scheduling is to keep the latest data to be updated in an account. It is quite the same with opening balance, but in scheduling, it involves plant, property, and equipment, current assets, and current liabilities. When doing this task, we need to make sure we had the copy of the last year schedule. And last but not least, the task is single entry job working. It is a preparation of account for client that does not have any bookkeepers. This task is a bit hard because we need to manually key in it to the schedule. If there are 500 entries of invoice, we need to key in all the 500 manually using our hand and make sure the amount, the invoice number, the name of the entries to be key in correctly. And we need to make sure all of the entries are key in the schedule, and make sure when key in the entries we need to sort it according to the date from 1st January to the 31st December. Now, I want to talk about the experience that I had gained throughout this practical training. First of all is communication skills and interaction with other senior staff. At first, I had found it very hard to communicate with them because of maybe of the age gap. But after knowing them day by days, they are very kind-hearted staff, and it made me easy to interact with them more. But I had never used my communication skill with the clients because I never get the work involving to talk with the clients, and also because of the current situation where the pandemic COVID-19 is anyway, so the company is had limited the persons visiting our organization. Next is facing the real working environment. To be honest, this is my first time working in a real working environment. I had never done this before, and thanks to the practical training program for giving me a chance to experience this working life. It's also hard to adapt at first because this is a serious matter. We are working in order to for the client auditing files to be done, and we need to finish the task in the time given. But slowly I can adapt the cycle of the work given. The third one is experience of doing an auditing. As in college, we only learn about the theoretical stuff and finishing the question that had been given by our lecturer. But through this practical training, through this working environment, I can finish the real life transactions given by the clients. And lastly is improvement of software and technology skills. I already been teach before about how to use Microsoft Excel and also UBS. But throughout the practical training, I only had to use the Microsoft Excel because the company where I had trained, they didn't use the UBS. And also, like I had mentioned before, I get to use the photocopy machine, which is very easy, and also the printing machine that I already had used before. So overall, in conclusion, the industrial training is very important to all the students because it helps to give students experience on working in the real working environment. And the most important thing is I can apply all the lessons that I had been learned in the college before. And if I had been given a chance to work at this company again, I would be gladly to accept it. And also to my parents and family that had been giving me support from behind. And that is all for my presentation for practical training. I hope in the future I can get I can get a chance to do this practical training again. Thank you.